Isang maganda at mapagpalang araw po sa ating lahat. Today is Wednesday, April 7, 2021. We are back for the fifth session of our webinar series entitled GKPB Mag-Online Learning, a webinar series on how to take online learning to the next level. Good morning po sa ating mga early birds, sa mga maaga pong tumutok sa ating FB Live. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Si Lou, Jane Matienzo, good morning. Si Rhea, si Sheila, si Jeneline, si Jocelyn, si Princess. Ayan, good morning and thank you sa inyong pagtutok at napakaaga po ninyo sa ating FB Live. Please let us know kung saan po kayo nanonood ngayon. I-comment nyo lamang po yan sa ating comment section para ma-shoutout po natin later. Anyways, a big shout out din sa ating mga kapwa-kawani dito sa UPLB na nakatutok din sa ating programa. Lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga taga-OVCAA na talaga namang ang support po ay full support kahit mga naka-work from home po. Sila Tita Agi, sila Ate Bev, Tita Elsa, si Kuya Adrian, si Sir Neil, si Tita Babe, si Tita Weng, at si Tita Cecil na nag-celebrate ng kanyang birthday today. Happy birthday, Tita Cecil. All right, so we are now down to the last session of our webinar series. Yesterday is the first part of our three-part webinar series under the theme, Leveling Up Your Design Skills. We learned all about the basics of graphic design through the session, Create and Inspire with Sir Gill Salgado. This time, let us level up our photography skills dahil hindi lahat sa atin may DLS or DSLR, yung mga high-end na camera. But let's make use of what we have right now, yung mga smartphones or mobile phones. Alright, kung wala pa po dito ang inyong mga classmates, friendships, and colleagues, itag na natin sila dito sa ating FB Live. I-share niyo rin po yung ating video para sama-sama po ulit tayong matuto sa isa na namang napaka-exciting na paksa sa umagang ito. As of this morning, we already have a total of 6,647 registered participants. I hope on board na po tayong lahat. Time check, it's already 10:04 in the morning. Welcome to GKPB Mag-Online Learning, a webinar series on how to take online learning to the next level. So, ayan nga po, tapos na tayo sa Prepping Up for Success. Nandito na po tayo sa theme na Leveling Up Your Design Skills. And today nga po is our fifth session under that theme entitled Smartphone Photography 101, Learn How to Take Better Pictures Using Mobile Phones. Again, I am Cheryl Hermosa Ebron, University Extension Associate and Training Coordinator of UPLB Learning Resource Center, and I will be our sessions moderator. Just a few friendly reminders for our webinar. First, please keep your comments helpful and considerate to the speaker, moderator, and to your fellow participants. Next, if you have questions, feel free to write them down below our comment section and make sure that those are relevant to the topic for this morning. And lastly, and most importantly, please do not forget to answer the evaluation form after the webinar. Our team, #Team LRC, will deeply appreciate po your comments and suggestions. Please also be reminded that the deadline of submission of responses will be until 5 in the afternoon. So hindi po siya 7 p.m. ha. Again, it's 5 in the afternoon. This is because our next session is immediately tomorrow po. We will be resetting the system, kaya po kailangan nating ma-reset siya on time para naman po sa next session tomorrow. So sa mga hindi po makakapanood sa ating session ng live, again, wag po kayong mag-alala, hindi po namin kayo maaaring kalimutan. Mapapanood pa rin po ninyo ang ating mga webinar series sa aming Facebook page. Hanapin nyo lamang po ang UPLB Learning Resource Center. Our online social community is still growing strong. We have reached more than 67,000 strong followers. Again, we are deeply humbled po and overwhelmed and thankful at the same time for your continuous support. Together, let's continue to build, inspire, and support one another because we are always better together. And together, we can achieve academic excellence. Ayan, sa mga naka-mobile data naman po, pwede nyo pong mapanood ang replay ng ating mga sessions sa aming YouTube channel. Again, i-search na lamang po yung UPLB Learning Resource Center on YouTube. At ngayon po ay patuloy pa rin po ang paglogo ng ating followers. Meron na po tayong 1,880 subscribers. So please keep it coming po. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. We have a number of materials there po. Please feel free to share them to your friends, to your colleagues, to your classmates na gusto pa rin matuto katulad po ninyo. And then wag pong kalimutang i-click ang notification bell para lagi po tayong updated sa ating mga videos. Please also follow us on Instagram at Twitter accounts po ng UPLB LRC. Para naman po mas mabilis nating makita lahat ng ating mga resources and videos sa ating webinar series, gamitin niyo po ang ating official hashtag. Yan po ay ang hashtag GKPB Online Learning or hashtag GKPB Online Learning. Okay? Now, before going to the main part of our session, let's have a short Energizer. Sa mga uma-attend na po ng ating webinar, di na kailangan i-memorize yan. You know the drill and you know what to do. Sa mga ngayon pa lamang po susubok sa platform na ito, napakadali lamang po. First, open a new browser or a new window and then go to www.menti.com and then use the code that you are seeing on your screen, which is 5171-650. Again, it's 5171-650. Sa pinakamabilis na paraan naman po, i-ano nyo lang po, picturean nyo lang po yung QR code na nakikita nyo sa inyong link and then makakapunta na po kayo agad doon sa ating site for the Energizer. I'm also posting or I already posted po yung ating link para diretso nyo na rin po mapuntahan ang ating Mentimeter. And then let me also share my screen so that we could all see the live results of our Mentimeter. Let me just share my screen. Okay. All right. So it's already shared. As you can see on your screen, ang ating question for today, what's your favorite subject to photograph? We have a number of choices there. Una, food. Second, people. Third, landscapes. Fourth, animals. Fifth, plants or flowers. And then yung pinakahuli, just random things. So alin kaya dyan yung pinaka-paborito mong picturean? Diba? Food ba? Tao ba? Landscapes ba? Or scenery? Mga animals, mga plants or flowers, mga plantita at plantito, or just random things. I remember po nung ako ay nag-take ng photography class sa DevCom, usually ang pinaka in love po talaga ako na picturean ay sun. Either sunset or yung pagbukang liwayway ng araw. Sobrang in love po ako noon sa ano nga tawag dito, sunrise and sunset. Kasi it reminds me of hope na kahit siya ay palubog na, alam ko bukas sisikat siya at may bagong pag-asa. And then kapag ka po tuwing morning pipicturean ko yung sun para ipasa po dun sa aming photography class. Ang lagi kong iniisip, pipikit lang po ako tapos I will just bask in the sunlight and then lahat po ng worries nawawala sa akin kasi nga alam ko na ito ay bagong umaga. Sabi nga po dun sa isang verse of Bible, this is the day that the Lord has made and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Oh, wow! Ang aga ng hugot, Ayan. So, try nyo din po, mag-picture ng sunset at saka sunrise. Yan po lagi ang hinahanap ko sa lahat ng pinupuntahan ko, either beach ba yan or mountain, sunrise at sunset. Okay, so we are seeing her here on our screen. Aba, meron na tayong 200, 300 na nagre-respond sa ating question. So please keep it coming. Nakikita po natin dito sa screen. Most of you are picturing or taking photographs of random things and that's okay. Kasi di ba pag photographer ka, you're seeing an object or a subject in a different light or perspective. Kaya mong pagandahin yung angulo ng bagay na yon. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for answering our Energizer for this morning. Hindi ko po yan naalisin. Pwede pa rin po kayong magsagot dyan. I hope energized na po tayo for this morning. Ayan. So, ang ating tanong, palaging tanong, G ka pa ba? G pa ba, guys? Excited na ba tayong i-level up ang ating photography skills? Yes, if G ka na, G pa rin kami. So to start our session, allow me to introduce to you our speaker for this morning. He is a graduate of BS Development Communication and a freelance photographer and a digital marketing specialist. He is very passionate in fashion photography, among others. He specializes as well in digital content, marketing, design, photo, video production, project management, and writing in the fields of academe, government, non government, and creative industry. Currently, he is the sales and digital marketing manager at LB Commons. He also worked as a sales and marketing associate at Chapters and Mayad Creatives Incorporated. Previously, he was also our teammate as the University Research Associate at the Learning Resource Center, but always and forever be a part of LRC family. To share with us how to take better pictures using mobile phones, let us all please welcome back Mr. Lawrence Gill D. Salgado. Hill, good morning.
Hello, Ate Shea. Good morning.
Good morning, kid.
Hello
Kid,
po.
bago tayo mag-start ng session mo, kwentuhan mo lang kami ng kaunti lang ha, kung paano ka ba na in love sa photography? Kasi nung pumasok ka dito sa LRC, alam ko na talaga na in love ka sa photography.
Yes po, Ate. Sure. When I started loving photography was back in high school, I guess. I was the one of the few people who got iPhones back then. Back then, I think that was 2000 and ano ba, 8 or 9. Tapos wala pa
Wow.
masyadong iPhones noon, but some of my relatives live outside kasi or abroad. So luckily, I was able to get a hand of one of the new iPhones back then, iPhone 2 pa yata yon or 3. And then, parang since I had the camera to do it or the technology to do it, I was tasked by my classmates and teachers to document what's happening in the school, the place. So, yun, dun siya nagsimula, really photojournalism on our school lang. Tapos, going into college, talagang in-explore ko na siya by buying a DSLR and then on, parang nagtuloy-tuloy na yung love ko for photography.
You know what I really love about you is kaya mo mag-capture ng emotions sa photographs, no? Ang galing-galing mo talagang mag-capture ng mga emotions. Like for example, pag nag-Christmas party tayo, lahat ng emotions nakaka-capture mo. So, is it more on inclined to people yung pag photographs mo rather than things?
Excuse me, ate po. Ano ulit po?
Ah, mas gusto mo ba na i-photograph yung mga tao, people, ganyan?
Yes. For me, with my photography kasi, doon ako nabaling talaga sa portraiture.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay. So without further ado, no, hindi ko na patatagalin. The Zoom space is yours, kid.
Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. Good morning. Good day. Tama si Ate Cheryl, no? This is the day that the Lord has made. Amen. Amen. So now, welcome back to the Visual Communication Training Webinar Series. It's a 3-day webinar series where we talk about first graphic design, which was yesterday. And then today, for our second session, we're gonna talk about photography. Ayan, lesson 2 na tayo ngayon. And then tomorrow is lesson 3, which is photo editing naman. So, ano lang, I have this, Ate Shaya has already discussed my background, but I'm just going to briefly discuss about myself. I'm Hill Salgado. You can call me Hill. And you can find me on Instagram at Hill Salgado. You can go follow me and all of my photography works are there as well. And also, I'm currently the sales and marketing manager of LB Commons. And my background is currently our cafe, the LB Commons. Ayan. So, short plug lang din, LB Commons is now in Food Panda. So, if you guys want to order a food in LB Commons, just go to Food Panda para hindi na kayo kailangan lumabas. Alright. Now, let's go to photography. Excited na ba kayo na matuto sa photography? Even if just smartphone, guys. Smartphones right now are very, very powerful tool in photography. So, huwag natin mamalitin natin yung smartphones natin. Although there are DSLRs and full frame cameras, very high-end cameras, but yung mga phones natin, they are very capable and very powerful. And I will tell you why later. So for my goal today is also to make you an effective and confident visual storyteller through photography naman. So kung kahapon, if you guys were present sa graphic design natin, my goal yesterday was to make you into an effective and confident visual storyteller through graphic design. But today, through photography naman tayo. So ano nga ba yung mga matututunan natin ngayong umaga? Ito sila. So I'm going to explain to you the importance of light in photography. And then I want you to be knowledgeable about the exposure triangle. Later, I will discuss what exposure triangle is. And then matututunan din natin kung ano ba yung white balance, ano yung mga composition techniques, and also photography genres that are present in the craft. Okay? So just to share a little bit of my background in photography. Yun nga, nasabi ko, I started back in high school and then going on into college, I joined a premier photography organization here in UPLB called the UP Photography Society. So shout out to all of my brads and CSES. Probably some of you are watching right now and giving me support. So thank you so much. This is all to you. This is for the society. One of our goals in the society is to give back to other people and teach other people. So I'm very happy that I'm teaching photography to you all right now. So yun, when I started back in college, I was really amused by conceptual portraits and conceptual photography. So if you can see, these are very surreal, ethereal, very fictional pictures that were created using one, photography, and number two, Photoshop. So that was my process before. I take photos, even multiple photos, and then stitch them together, edit the lighting, edit the texture, the objects, what kind of effects there are. So ganun yung naging kind of photography na nakahiligan ko before. Uh, yung mga ano ko noon, mga idol ko noon when I started conceptual photography were the likes of Brendan Burton, Alex Stoddard, and Kyle Thompson as well. All right? And then eventually, nung mga nakalaunan na, I enrolled myself into the Philippine Fashion Institute and or balita yata, Fashion Institute of the Philippines pala or FIP in Manila. And then I enrolled in fashion photography. So napunta naman ako from conceptual to portraiture and specifically fashion photography. So this is my friend. That's Ella. That's Ella, one of the alumna of UPLB as well. And she's now one of the top models living abroad na, di ba? Ayan. So we had a shoot back then. Ayan. I'm just showing you some of my works then para naman makita nyo na credible naman yung speaker na magtuturo sa inyo today. Yan. The middle picture was in UPLB. So if you guys reside in UPLB, baka alam nyo kung saan to. Ayan. This picture, this is the picture that I took back then in 2010 yata or 2011 when I was still starting and that got me hooked into portraiture. Ito talaga yung picture na nag-start ng passion ko for portrait photography talaga. Okay. All right. And then after exploring sa photography, I decided na bakit hindi ako magkaroon ng mga portrait projects or photography projects in general. So I thought of a creative portraiture project na pwede kong gawin which was called Pantone Portraits. And I have a Facebook page back then. So I posted it there. Tapos nag-viral siya kasi ito sa fresh concept for the siguro creative field, ganon. So yan, naging project ko to. Hopefully after the pandemic, I'll be able to bring it back and shoot again Something like this. Probably something like this. Ayun. So, not because nag-take ako ng portraiture ay hindi na ako nag-take ng iba pang mga bagay. So, in photography naman, you have your preferences pero you can explore naman eh. So, all through those experiences, meron din akong mga nakukuhang projects or mga self-projects, passion projects ko lang din na sinushoot. So, on the side, I also shoot products, food, events, mga ganon. So, I just don't focus on portraiture. Pwede din kayo mag-explore ng ibang genres and probably later on, ma-discover nyo kung ano ba yung classic photographer kayo in the future. Alright. So, now that I've shared my story in photography, ngayon na kayo naman ay gustong matuto in photography, here are my questions to you. Number one is, why do you want to learn photography? Okay? So, go type your comments or your answers in the comment section. I'll check them later after the webinar. It'll be interesting for me to know where you're coming from and bakit nga ba gusto ng mga tao na matuto ng photography. Kasi or to level up their photography. Kasi marami naman sa atin na content na sa mga pa-shoot-shoot na lang or take-take na lang ng picture. But some of you, I think you all are here because you want to elevate your skills in photography. So why? Bakit kaya? And then number two is, who is or are your favorite photographer or photographers? Pwede namang marami. Ako, madami akong idol. Later, ipapakita ko sa inyo lahat ng idol ko sa photography. Yan. So, I'll give you a minute to think about your answer and start pondering about why you want to learn photography and who are your favorite photographers then. Some of you guys siguro want to upgrade your photography siguro for your business or for your class requirements. Some of you siguro to level up your Instagram gaming, mga ganon. Okay, yan. So I'm seeing here si Jelayan. She said, I can use this for my IG photo. So tama naman. IG is a platform, social media platform where we can share photographs. So di ba, I endorsed my Instagram handle a while ago. So doon din ako nag-share ng mga photos ko. Could be personal photos or could be my portfolio, but everyone's sharing photos naman in Instagram. So if you guys want to level up your Instagram gaming nga, like Jalayan, yan. Maganda yan. So si Marie Ferriano Santiago naman, she said, capture some memories better. Yan. I really love capturing memories then. That's why na-hook din ako sa portraiture or people in general, pwede rin sa street or events kasi I like seeing emotions and capturing emotions. Yun. Ito, Rainier Austria said, I would like to learn photography because I was always fascinated in still photographs. Wow, okay. How a single moment can be captured forever in a single click. Wow, very poetic naman nun. But that is true, no? That's one of the powers of photography, no? Who wouldn't want to have the power to freeze time? Ako gusto ko, kaya ako pinursue yung photography. And for you to freeze time in a very beautiful way is different. So, yun. Maganda din yun. Okay. Rolflen Ray Chachuela Atenza, he said e-commerce. Yan. So, kung mapapansin natin yung mga businesses ngayon, no, turning into digital na talaga because of the pandemic. So, everyone's turning digital and what better way for you to market your business is through e-commerce nga naman talaga. All right. So, let's proceed. Thank you all for sharing your answers. I really appreciate them. Later on, babasahin ko lahat ng answers ninyo. Okay? I promise that. Okay, moving on. Just like yesterday, the format of my class or this webinar will be just like yesterday na meron tayong mga pop quizzes every now and then. So for our first pop quiz, The question is, who is the father of photography? Sige nga, meron kaya nakakaalam? Baka meron dito mga nag-class or nag-take ng short courses in photography na may alam kung sino ba yung father of photography. Yeah. So the right answer is Joseph Nicefor Nimes. Alright? Sana tama yung pag-pronounce ko, no? If I remember correctly sa college photography course ko, I think it's Nicefor Nimes. Alright. But his full name is Joseph Nicefor Nimes. And when we talk about Joseph Nicefor Nimes and how he was able to shoot the first ever photograph on a medium, noong 1826 pa yon. Si Nice for Yips kasi French siya. And ang ginawa niya was this. To give you guys a background. This picture is called View from the Window at Le Gras. Diba? Diba? Kapag French kasi hindi pinopronounce yung last letter. So, View from the Window at Le Gras. So, paano ba niya to nagawa? He used a camera obscura, the first cameras built. So to make this, yung mga platform pa noon, they are embedded on kilograms, hindi pa yung mga photo papers, ganyan. So they used kilograms before. So Joseph used kilograms before. So nag-dissolve siya ng light-sensitive bitumen in oil of lavender and applied a thin coating over a polished pewter plate. So, ganyan yung itsura ng mga cameras before and maglalagay lang sila ng parang pewter plate tapos doon na masusunog yung image through the entrance of light and also yung pag-reflect ng mirror. Okay. Nice thing to know, no? Okay, so let's first start with the definition of what photography is. Ayan. Photography, in the essence of its meaning, is the art of capturing light because the root words of photography are photos and graphene. And these Greek words literally means, photos means light and graphene means to draw or to paint. So if we're going to translate it, is to draw with light or to paint with light. Okay? Ayan. So I told you before that smartphone cameras are very capable now, but let's see how photography world has evolved through the years. So in 1500s, as I said before, si Joseph Nice Nips, one of the first, he was the first to take a photograph using the camera obscura. And then in 1800, nagkaroon na ng second type of camera which is called the daguerreotype. 1900s, nagkaroon na ng manufacturing of Kodak Brownie. And then 1913, meron na ng Candid. And then shortly after, months after lang, nagkaroon na ng Polaroid. Alright, so here's another pop quiz. When and what is the first camera phone invented? Sige nga. What about camera phones, no? Later kasi through the evolution, makikita natin na from camera obscura to single lens reflex to DSLRs and then to camera phones. But what is the first camera phone invented and where was it invented? Let's see nga kung alam ng mga participants natin. Clue, it's in a country na favorite ko and I would like to go there. I've never been there, but I would like to go there kasi mahilig ako sa mga anime. Yan. Alright. Edith Pacheco said Sony. Let's see. Good guess. Good guess. Nokia. Good guess. Good guess. Sige. Ayun, may nakita na akong tamang sagot. Again, kay Rainier Ostea. Very good. It's from Kyocera. It's called the Kyocera Visual Phone VP210. on May 1999 sa Japan. Yon. So later I'll uh, give you a picture of what it looks like. So proceed muna tayo dun sa evolution of cameras. In 1978, we have naman the Konica. Ito yung first autofocus camera na na-release noong 1978. And then we go to 1981, nagkaroon ng Sony Mavica. It's the world's first digital electronic camera. Dito na nag-start na maging electronic yung mga cameras, no? And then 1991, the first ever digital SLR. Tapos, eto na, noong 1999, nagkaroon na ng Kyocera phone, the first ever smartphone na may camera. So, ito yung itsura niya noon. Yan. And then, 2000s and above and beyond, nagkaroon na ng DSLRs. Okay? Now, in this new era, aside from smartphones, of course, meron ding iba pang kinds of cameras since it's always evolving. Everyone's always evolving naman, or everything is always evolving. So, meron na tayong mga tinatawag na mirrorless camera. Ako, I own a mirrorless camera na Sony. Sony A7, the first full frame camera of Sony na mirrorless. So, that was my camera. So kayo, if you own a camera, what is your camera? Type nyo nga, comment down below what is your camera. Ako, I would like to own a Fujifilm camera someday. Siguro yung X100V or X100F, yung mga gano'n nila. Sige. Well, you answer or you share your answer. Also, we have ito naman, mga action cameras. So, mga GoPros, di ba? Very small, compact cameras but are very also powerful na pwede mong iluglog sa tubig, take very wide shots, and that can last long talaga. Alright? And then the last one is, we now have underwater cameras. So, may mga Olympus digital cameras na that can go 50 meters below sea level, no? Okay. So here, nakikita ko si Ray Jansen Okay, may Canon EOS M50. If I remember it correctly, M50 ay mirrorless camera na, right? Yes. So Canon Rebel T5, okay. Jenny B. Gamilo said Nikon D4000. Right. Gaganda naman ang mga camera nyo. Sana na utilize natin yung cameras natin. Kahit na hindi tayo super marunong sa cameras, what's important is for you to take photographs naman talaga. So now, tuturuan ko kayo kung paano ba mag-take ng better photographs. Not just with your high-end cameras or DSLR cameras, but with smartphones. So it's good na nakikita ko na, well, you also have DSLR. So yung matututunan natin ngayon, even if it's for smartphone, ma-apply nyo din to dun sa mga professional cameras ninyo. Okay? Alright. Ito naman. What is phone photography? When we say phone photography, we just take the word photography and apply phone to it. So it's literally the art of capturing images using phone naman. Okay? And when we talk about evolution of phones naman, when we started, di ba nag-start tayo, 2003 pa, Nokia 6600 yung uso nun, di ba? Ako ba, ano bang phone ko nun? Yung first phone ko was when I was in grade 6, 2005 yon. Tapos naalala ko, binilan ako ng 6610, Nokia 6610. May camera na rin yon. Tapos I carried that on hanggang mapalitan na siya ng iPhone na sinabi ko kanina. So until third year high school. So see the evolution, ilang years lang yon, and then we already got Apple and iPhones na. From Nokia to Apple na. Alright, 2007, we have Nokia N95. Kayo kaya, yung mga viewers, ano yung first phone cameras nyo? Meron tayong mga viewers na mga very bata pa, no? Baka yung una nilang sabihin eh. My first my first phone was iPhone 7. iPhone 7 na agad. I feel so old. discussing this na 2003 no kaya 6600 pa yung meron kami or our time no kaya 6600 pa or yung mga ditope, yung mga ganyan. Baka may nakaabot pa dito ng Alcatel. Yan. Next one, noong 2007, also the release of the first iPhone. So, after naman nun, years after that, super bilis na nung enhancement ng mga smartphones natin that by 2018, nagkaroon na ng Huawei P20 who partnered with Leica to create a phone that is very powerful in terms of photography. Kasi yung mga Leica lenses, they are very high-end and talagang magaganda yung mga pictures na kinukuhanan nila. Alright? And then lastly, 2021 and above, siguro in the coming years, super mas gaganda pa and probably mas magiging compact pa talaga yung mga cameras natin. So, meron na tayo ngayong iPhone 12 na super capable. Yung mga may iPhone 12 dyan, gaganda ng phone ninyo. Alright. So, the question is, now that you have a phone and yung phone ninyo ay capable of taking photographs naman, so how can I take better photos using a phone? Okay? So we'll discuss this. First is light. Second is yung exposure triangle. Third is white balance. And then fourth is composition techniques. So these four are very essential for you to take better photographs. If you're knowledgeable about these four, then I assure you na yung iti-take yung photographs next time is super better than before and elevated na. Okay? So, let's talk about light. So light, in the scientific term, it's an electromagnetic wave that reflects the spectrum of colors which can be seen by the human eye. So ito yung gusto kong i-impart sa inyong lahat. Because if there is no light, there is no photography. Kapag walang ilaw, paano tayo magte-take ng picture, di ba? Baka itim lang yung makita natin or totally black lang yung ma-capture natin. Because yung light na nagre-reflect dun sa mga objects, how our eyes see the colors, also how the camera perceives yung colors ng mga objects. And everything is reflected naman by light. So, kung walang light na magre-reflect ng colors ng objects or ng mga objects in general, wala tayong makukuhanan. So, there are two types of lights. Merong natural light, which are the sun, the moon, the stars. Ito yung mga natural light na nakikita natin. Pwede ding fire kapag nag-create ng forest fire, and then also lightning, pwede din. And then we also have artificial light. Okay, ito naman yung mga bulbs or lamps, LCD screens, yung mga ganon. Okay? So when we talk about natural light, these photos are by Hildebrand. Darlene Hildebrand. So makita natin yung effect nung photo depending on the time of the day that we shoot, no? So in terms of natural light, using the sun, this is the effect of the sun. So eto, sunrise, very, ano ba to? Very mellow, very diffused yung light natin and very soft. Yan. Wala tayong hard shadows na nakikita dun sa objects natin. And the sky relatively looks calm. Yan. By noon, makikita na natin na tirik na yung araw and very blue na yung sky. And here we can see na very harsh na yung shadows. Meron na kayo nakikita na shadows dun sa church or dun sa temple na nagre-render na talaga dun sa sides. Yan. And then by afternoon, it will become cloudy and magiging diffused again yung light natin because meron nang nag-overcast ng sun. And then lastly is sunset. So itong sunset usually parang dusky na yung color ng sun, very orangey or red, and the sky is reflected beautifully talaga. Okay. So here's one of the examples na pwede ko ipakita sa inyo regarding the effects of light or natural light. This photo is may inaanak in UP Photos, si Jonah Garcia. So, hi Jonah, I miss you. So yan, nung pinicturean ko siya dun sa left photo, that was noon, pero nasa loob kami. So if you can see, may direct na light pa rin dun sa mukha niya. But nung nag-sunset na, pinicturean ko siya around 5 p.m. on the same spot, nag-create ng very good lines dun sa bintana namin, yung sunset, which reflected on Jonah's entire body na very warm, di ba? Yun yung effect ng different times of the day. So if ako, ang favorite time of the day ko to shoot is talagang sunset. Yun. Ayan. So since nabanggit ko na favorite ko ay sunset, we have a question here. In photography, the hour after sunrise and hour before sunset is called blank. Yan. Sige nga, tingnan nga natin. What is this called? It's the blank hour. Okay? Any guesses? Ayan. Tama kayo, no? Si Miranet Cruz, hi. She said golden hour, and also Fredizon Bansifra Rirao also said golden hour. And you guys are correct. Everyone who mentioned golden hour, tama po kayo. So in photography, the term is golden hour. So kapag pasikat pa lang yung araw at kapag palubog na yung araw, yun yung favorite ko talagang mag-picture kasi super ganda ng kulay ng araw kapag na-reflect siya sa mga bagay. It creates a very dramatic mood and very diffuse and not harsh. And also, ako, ayoko kasi naiinitan din. So, best time to shoot for me is kapag hindi pa mainit yung araw. So, very golden yung experience when you shoot in sa windows pa ng golden hour talaga. Alright. Moving on naman sa artificial light. When we say artificial light, human-made lights naman sila. So some of the examples are light bulb, LCDs, and also sa photography, we have strobe lights, flashlights, mga ganon. Speed lights, mga ganon. Alright. Now, ito yung tip ko sa inyo is to know what kind of light you are working with. What do we mean by this? Kapag gusto nyong malaman kung anong klaseng ilaw yung meron kayo, you have to know the placement of your light, you have to know the color of your light, and also you have to know the intensity of your light. So, may trick ako dito uh, para lang ma-practice natin kung ano yung ibig sabihin ko dun sa what kind of light you are working with. Uh, if you have a phone, turn on your flashlight. Sige, ako meron akong iPad in front of me. Ayan. So in terms of placement, flashlight. Yan, flashlight. So if nasa dark room kayo, better. So in terms of placement, if itapat ko siya directly sa mukha ko, which is very nakakabulag, di ba nakikita natin na directly sa face, but if I move it sa left, etong side lang yung reflected, eto hindi masyado, and then so on and so forth. Maganda na i-try nyo siya either sa mukha nyo, sa mukha ng ibang tao, or sa object kahit sa glass or sa pencil. And then, i-study nyo ano yung nagiging effect kapag dito nyo siya nilagay, kapag dito nyo siya nilagay. And so, kapag lumabas kayo, no, titignan nyo kung ano yung placement ng subject nyo in relationship to the light na, kunyari, sun or sunset, or if you have flashes, ano yung placement ng light ko in relationship to my subject. So, may kita natin kung paano ba naapektuhan ng light yung subject natin. Depende kung saan nakalugar or yung placement. Depende kung ano yung kulay ng light mo. And depende kung gaano ka-intense yung light mo. Alright? Now, let's talk about exposure triangle. Ano nga ba to exposure triangle? First is what is exposure. Exposure is just how light or dark your subject or your photo is. So, sa exposure triangle, to manipulate how light or dark our photo is, we have three factors which are aperture, shutter, or shutter speed, and also ISO. Makikita natin to sa phones natin later. I'll show you. I own a Samsung S9. So, yung magiging example ko dito will be my phone. I hope meron din sa ibang phones, no? I'm sure meron sa mga smartphones ngayon yung Pro feature or advanced feature sa phone camera ninyo, settings ninyo. Yan. So, yung goal natin is maging balance yung settings natin for all three factors, which are the aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Yan. Going on, paano ba natin malalaman kung correctly exposed? Here's an example. Yan, overexposed, correctly exposed, and underexposed. So overexposed, makita natin na yung highlights ng picture and also the whites masyadong mataas. It loses detail na, no? Makita natin kasi masyadong putok yung lights. And then correctly exposed is kapag yung image natin is well lit and lahat ay well exposed. And underexposed naman is kapag masyado nang madilim, hindi na makita yung subject natin. Okay. So going on, here's an example of the Samsung S9 or probably in other Samsung phones as well. Kapag clinic nyo yung more, magkakaroon dyan ng Pro settings. Okay? So kapag na-click nyo na yung Pro, lalabas dyan yung settings sa ilalim. So for example, here, ayan, makita ninyo itong settings na pwede nyo nang ma-tweak or ma-edit. So first up is ISO. So what is ISO? ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization. Pero ang use talaga ng ISO is this is the sensitivity to light. So yung values niya nag-range from 100 to 1,600. Yung ISO kasi it's very built-in in the sensor of the technology. Kung phone man yan, kung DSLR man yan, kung camera man yan, it's built in the system already. So when we say sensitivity to light, kapag ba mas mataas yung ilaw, ano yung kailangan nating ISO? Kailangan ba itaas natin to make it more sensitive to light or kailangan mas mababa kasi hindi naman kailangan ng masyadong sensitivity to light kasi mataas naman yung ilaw sa taas ay ilaw sa labas. Okay? So in practice or in theory as well, we use low ISO kapag mababa or kapag brightly lit yung scenes or mataas yung amount of light that we get from the surroundings. And vice versa naman, we use a high ISO kapag maonte yung light na meron tayo sa surroundings. Okay? So I want you to try and explore on your ISO sa Pro settings ninyo. Try nyo ibaba, try nyo itaas. Okay? So, for example, ngayon, directly lit sa akin yung ilaw through the window, pero nasa indoor din naman ako na establishment. So, I would say siguro mga ISO 400 magiging okay na sa akin. Yan. And also, ISO plays a big role in the graininess of your photo. So, the lower the ISO, no grains or less grains. So, kung ISO 100 yan and ISO 200, wala kang grains na makikita. But, if you use a higher ISO, kung capable yung phones nyo, yung phone ko kasi hanggang ISO 800 lang. So, hindi siya ganun ka-grainy. Some of the phones can have 1,600 ISO or 3,200 ISO. So, kapag tinaasan nyo, even up to 12,800, if yung mga cameras nyo capable na 12,800, and if you take a picture of it, makikita ninyo na magiging grainy na yung photo ninyo. No? Okay. Sige. There's a question here na paano naman yung sa mga iPhone, ano yung equivalent? Sige. I'll try to look at my iPad and see kung paano magpo-process. Okay. Currently, wala ako nakikita sa iPad ko, no? Or I haven't just explored my phone that much. Hmm. Meron bang naka-iPhone dito din? Kasi hindi iPhone yung smartphone ko, kaya hindi rin ako makapag-share na experience ko with iPhone because I am using Samsung. Yan. But if you guys know, I hope you can comment down below how you can go to the pro settings of iPhone. And if there's a pro settings for iPhone, I'm sure meron yan. Yan. Alright, moving on to shutter speed naman. So in Samsung, this is what it looks like. Ayan. So when we say shutter speed naman, it is the length of time a camera shutter or curtain, tawag namin doon curtain, is open to capture light. So yun lang yung length of time or duration. So gaano kabilis, gaano kabagal, yung phone mo magte-take ng picture. So ano siya, measured siya in fractions of a second. So for example, 1/125 or 1 second. Yung 1 doon is equal to 1 second. So mas mabilis na shutter speed ay nasa 1/3000, mga ganun. Because it's 1/3000 of a second. Ganyan. So fast shutter speed, yung effect nun is it freezes movement. And then slow shutter speed naman is it creates motion blur. And also, share ko lang din na sa shutter speed, since, kunyari, when we use 1/3000 of a second fraction of time to capture our image, super bilis nun. So, how much light can that take in? Kung ganun siyang kabilis, di ba? Onti lang yung light na papasok. But it will be enough kapag super lakas ng light sa surroundings natin. So usually kapag super bright ng surroundings natin, we use 1/500, 1/1000 to compensate for the amount of light that is there in our surroundings. Pero when we use low shutter speed naman, since matagal naka-open yung shutter ng phone natin, pasok lang ng pasok yung ilaw, di ba? So we don't use slow shutter speed kapag maaraw unless you intentionally want to create a motion blur, and then by then kailangan mo na siyang i-compensate sa ISO and aperture mo. But as I said, since phone photography lang naman to, I would not recommend that you use slow shutter speed during daytime. Okay? Slow shutter speed can be used during nighttime kapag onti na lang yung ilaw para yung ilaw na available sa surroundings natin, pumasok lang ng pumasok sa shutter, naka-open lang yung shutter natin, and then by kunyari, siguro sabihin natin 2 seconds or 5 seconds, the amount of light that entered our camera through the shutter uh, is enough to make our photo correctly exposed. Okay? Yan. So for example, ito. These photos are from Ruth Veluz. Hi, Ruth, if you're watching. And dun sa left photo, anong klaseng shutter speed kaya yung ginamit niya dito? Fast or slow? Yan. Di ba? From our previous slide, sabi, blank shutter speed freezes motion. So ano kaya yon? It is the fast shutter speed. Okay? And then the shutter speed or the photo on the right, the shutter speed used is ano kaya? It created light streaks, ganun. And also sa gabi. Okay? So si Azel Platon said slow. Yan, tama. So the left photo used fast shutter speed and the right photo used slow shutter speed. So makikita din natin yung effect ng slow shutter speed, no, na since light is entering in a long duration, kung paano din nagmo-move yung light, ganun din siya makaka-capture. So makikita natin beautiful light motion here through the cars that are passing by. Okay? So this one is an example of slow shutter speed on a bright setting. So ito kinuhanan ko to, I don't remember if this is in Mahayhay or in Hulugan, I'm not sure. But nung kinuhanan ko to, maaraw. Pero I intentionally want the waterfalls to look very creamy and very flowy. So the only way for me to shoot na ganun is slow shutter speed or pag mukhain yung water na very flowy is slow shutter speed. So pero 'di ba sabi ko it is in my intention naman to use slow shutter speed even if maaraw. So if you guys have an intention as well like this na very nagiging ano naman interesting yung subject ninyo. For example, yung water gusto ko na hindi mag-freeze, gusto ko magmukha siyang flowy pa rin and continuous. Gumamit talaga ako ng slow shutter speed. So if your cameras are capable of that, then good. Pwede nyo naman yun gawin. Okay? Next is aperture. Ito I found out in my Samsung camera na yung shutter speed at saka aperture ko ay same ng settings. And hindi ko mapalitan yung aperture ko. I can click it, but it goes from f1.8 to f2.8 only. So, I think yun lang yung range na ina-allow ng Samsung. But let me know, siguro if you guys have Huawei P20, yung mga high-end cameras or smartphones, baka capable kayo to tweak your apertures from f1.8 to f22 or more. So let me know. Pero sa Samsung, baka kasi outdated na rin yung phone ko. It's S9. Baka hindi lang din niya kaya. Pero yun yung restriction sa phone ko. I can edit the ISO and I can edit the shutter speed but I cannot wala ko masyadong freedom sa aperture. But it's okay for me kasi f1.8 is a good aperture number for me. Yan. So when we say aperture naman, it is the hole or opening to which light travels. Okay? And paano siya na-measure? Na-measure siya through f-stops. So, ayan, sa phone nyo makikita kayo na f1.5, f1.8, f5, f4, mga ganyan. Basta kapag may letter F dyan, it already stands for aperture kasi dun siya mini-measure. So, also, aperture is responsible for depth of field. So, the lower the aperture value is equals to bigger opening siya. So kapag bigger yung opening, ang nakikreate niya is shallow depth of field or yung blurry yung background. So that's why I said na even though hindi ako masyadong makapag-control ng aperture ko sa phone, it's still giving me a big opening or a slow f-stop which is f1.8 to f2.8 and it helps me create a shallow depth of field. So okay pa rin yon for me. Kasi gusto ko yung mga pictures ko blurry yung background, may isolation from the subject and the background or the foreground, gano'n. And on the other hand naman, if we use higher f-stop value, for example, is f22, mas nagiging small yung opening ng lens natin. So what it creates is a deep depth of field. So when we say deep depth of field, lahat clear. Walang blurred na background, hindi blurred yung subject, hindi blurred yung foreground. Lahat equally clear sa and equally focused as well sa photograph natin. Okay? So for example, here, ano kayang aperture value yung ginamit ko dito? Sige nga, let's see. The back, if you can notice, the picture is the subject is clear and focused, pero yung background natin is blurry. So yung aperture na ginamit ko dito is mababa. The f-stop value is mababa. So let's say f1.8, ganon. As compared to this, ito mas mataas yung aperture value na ginamit ko. So the effect is mas nakita yung background. Okay? Yan. So let's try again para lang makita ko kung nagigets niyo yung principles behind aperture. So the lower f-stop value, blank lens opening, creating a blank depth of field. Sige nga, tignan natin. Let's say yung value ng aperture natin is f1.8. So, ano kaya yung nakikreate ng lens opening? Malaki, maliit? And ano kaya yung nakikreate na depth of field? Shallow ba or deep? Sige nga, tingnan natin. If you know the answer or if you want to try, you can comment down on the comment section. Yan, let's see some of the answers. Sige. From Lay Andrew Radovan. So lower f-stop value equals to larger lens opening and creating a shallow depth of field. Tama. All right. Very good. So nagets naman pala. Also, Rachel Bautista, bigger lens opening and creating a shallow depth of field. Okay. So sa lahat ng nag-answer ng bigger lens opening, creating a shallow depth of field, tama po kayong lahat. And dito nakita ko na nag-gets nyo naman yung concept behind aperture. Yan. Yan. Yan po yung sagot. Bigger and shallow. Ito naman, it's the opposite lang. Higher f-stop value creates blank lens opening, creating a blank depth of field. So it's just the other way around. So kapag mas mataas, let's say f22 value, our lens opening is smaller, creating a deep depth of field. Yon. Okay, let's now go to white balance. So ano ba yung white balance? It is the process of removing unrealistic color cast so that white colors appear white in your photo. And it is measured in Kelvin. So di ba yung quality ng light natin, as I mentioned before, nagbabago yan. Pwedeng yung, kung sa artificial light tayo nagsushoot, pwede siyang masyadong blue or masyadong yellow. Sometimes when we use fluorescent lights, mga ganon, or bulbs, or also kapag natural light naman yung gagamitin natin, kapag yung sun, makikita natin, kapag tirik yung araw, yon white talaga yon. But if we shoot siguro mga golden hour, magiging yellow naman yung light natin. So to balance out yung pictures natin and make the color white, really white, gumagamit tayo ng white balance. Okay? So sa phone settings, meron dyan nakalagay na WB. So yun yung i-click natin and then makikita ninyo na it is, since may edit natin yung white balance, ang may edit natin is yung temperature level. So lalabas dyan is 4,200 Kelvin to 300 Kelvin. So may range yan. Okay? So let's see. This one is from an iPhone setting, a DSLR camera setting, but meron din dyan, kasi baka hindi lumabas sa phones ninyo yung tungsten, yung fluorescent, daylight, flash, cloudy, and shade. But I'll teach you, since nga by Kelvin naman siya na measure, I'll teach you what the effects of those will be. So, if we use tungsten, approximately 3,000 Kelvin, ito, nag-create to ng warm, ng cool tone kasi to fight the color of the tungsten. So, if we go forward pa, up to the shade to 7,000 Kelvin, gagamit yung white balance natin ng something that will balance the color, to make the whites really white. So for example, here, ito yung nasa gitnang picture, yun yung real white. So if gumamit naman tayo ng, let's say, shade or daylight, mas magiging orange yung itsura ng photo natin. Kasi kung babalikan natin, sige, balik tayo. Ayan. So if we use daylight or flash or cloudy or shade, mas mainit yung magiging picture natin kasi mas mataas na yung value ng Kelvin. So, yan, makikita natin dito, if we use daylight or shade or higher Kelvin, mas magiging orangey or warm yung color natin. But as compared to using tungsten or using other lower level Kelvin na temperature, mas magiging cold yung itsura ng picture natin. And as I mentioned before, or yesterday pala, sa graphic design natin, di ba, there are warm tones, there are cool tones, and each tone creates a different mood. So kung makikita natin dito sa left, yung warm, well, it looks like warm. And yung, siguro, it creates a very summer feeling, no? And then on the right naman, it's very blue. So, pagmumukha nating malamig yung environment or let's say something winter, ganon. Okay. So now we've discussed the lighting, ano ba yung qualities ng light natin, ano yung types of light natin. And then we also discussed aperture, the exposure triangle, which are ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. And then we have the white balance. Okay. So here in our 5-minute break, I want you to explore on your phone camera settings. And let's see if makakuha kayo ng picture, you can share it and then tell us what you've discovered. Pero I just want you to explore your camera more or your phones more dito sa 5-minute break natin and explore ano ba yung paano magiging balance yung ISO, yung shutter speed, yung aperture, and ano yung color na gagamitin ninyo given your current light situation right now. Okay? So, okay. We can start our 5-minute break.
All right, just kindly continue exploring your smartphones and how to apply all the tips from Kid from our speaker. And if you have questions, just please feel free to comment down below our comment section box para ma-raise po natin yan lahat mamaya sa pagbabalik niya. All right, so far, ang dami-dami na nating natututunan, no? Even though we don't have the DSLR, yung high-end cameras, we can use our phones to take better pictures, ano? Hindi lang for Instagram, but sabi nga ng marami sa inyo, you would like to capture the moment, to preserve the moment. And pag nasa picture na kasi yan, hindi mo rin makakalimutan, no? For me, ako gusto ko lagi mag-take ng pictures para yung mga moments na yon, halimbawa sa aking anak, ayan, na minsan nagsisend ng mga pictures sa mga group chats na hindi namin napapansin. And I would like to see, I would like him to see in the future yung mga moments na kasama namin siya sa paglaki niya. Alright? So keep on exploring your phones. And please let us know, Hill, if you're already ready for the next topic. All right, I guess he's back.
Okay na ba? Nakapag-explore ba tayo sa phones natin? Okay. Pwede nyo pa siyang i-explore more as you go along. Pero now, alam nyo na kapag nag-tweak kayo ng settings, alam nyo na kung ano yung magiging effect nun sa phones natin. Okay? Alright. Moving on. Now we're going to discuss about the basic composition techniques, which are number one, rule of thirds, leading lines, texture, perspective, color, pattern, framing, and last one is panning. Okay, so we'll discuss this one by one. So when we say rule of thirds, it's a technique wherein you place your subject in the intersections that occur when an image is split into three. Just like what I've mentioned yesterday, we also have a composition technique called rule of thirds in graphic design. It also applies here in photography. So what you do is there's a settings in your phone camera that you can where you can show the grid lines, or sometimes kunyari sa phone ko it's already shown, no, may grid lines na talaga. So in the intersections, that's where you put your subject. So for example, eto. Oh, all right. This one is a photo by CC Kalayan. So, wag mo na natin pansinin yung intersection lines because uh, we can also compose our frame using yung mismong lines lang. So, pwedeng kunyari horizontal lines lang or kunyari vertical lines lang. So, may kita natin dito, this photo is well composed because first, yung kapag papansin natin yung horizontal lines, madi-divide yung picture into three sections, which are the lower part is the road, the middle part is yung establishments, and the upper part is yung um, sorry, is yung bubong or yung mga ano ba, store, ano bang tawag dito? Yung like yung subways, yung mga ganon, storefronts, ganon. So may kita natin na may leveling dun sa composition ng phone niya. Ay, ng photo niya, sorry. Okay? Okay. So may question dito na quickly gusto ko lang i-address. It's by Jelian. Okay. Bakit po kaya yung shutter speed ko when tinataasan ko po, nadilim po ng sobra yung camera ko? Ganun po ba talaga? So the concept behind this is, kapag tinaasan, so for example, 1/2000 or 1/3000, dumidilim yung picture natin or yung phone natin is because, di ba, kapag mas mabilis yung camera natin to take photos like 1/2000 of a second, isipin nyo na lang 1 second, mabilis na yon. And if we take 1/100, mabilis din yon. When we do 1/2000 of a second, fraction yun guys ha, we're working with a fraction of a second lang. So if 1/200 yan, isipin nyo, dinivide nyo yung 1 second into 200 pa. Ganon kabilis yung shutter speed natin. And kapag ganon kabilis, gaanong kadami yung light lang na nakukuha natin from that kind of duration. If ganon kabilis, kung mag-take ako, kunyari ito yung shutter, no? Nag-take ako ng ganon kabilis, ganon lang yung makukuha kong light. So if onti yung light sa environment mo, onti lang din talaga yung makukuha niya. But if tagalan ko yung opening ng shutter speed ko, then mas madami dapat na pumapasok na light, which in turn mas magiging bright yung photo natin. Okay. So another question here is, do we have to use the scene optimizer on setting whenever we are inside a room? Not necessarily. If you guys know naman to tweak na, kasi di ba pwede naman tayo mag-auto ng settings natin palagi. And then, yung camera na yung bahala to set the settings or yung phone natin. But if you will use your pro feature and knowledgeable naman kayo what the shutter speed does to to your photograph, what aperture does, and also what ISO does, I don't think you always have to use the scene optimizer. Okay? So moving on, eto, kapag dinlagyan natin ng lines yan, yun yung minimension ko kanina na yung the bottom part is the road and then the upper part, yun na yung mga may bubong and the signages. And then yung middle part is where the subjects are focused. So nandun yung mga tao, nandun yung kotse, nandun uh, yung bike. And then also, kapag tinignan natin yung intersections, meron bang subject na nandun sa intersection? So for the first intersection, wala. Second intersection, wala. Third intersection, wala. But on the fourth intersection, kaya nagiging attracted tayo dun sa nagbabike and it's a well-composed photo. It's because dun sa intersection ng pang-apat, nandun yung nagbabike. Okay? And behind it is yung ano pa, car pa. Okay? So here's another example. This photo is by Ain Parlade. She's my friend. All of the photos here are either from mine or from my friends. Mga batchmates ko to sa UP Photos. Yan. So makita natin on the picture on the left, why is this a well-composed shot? Because if we use the rule of thirds, makikita natin na sa fourth intersection ulit, nandoon yung ulo ng subject natin. Or nandoon yung mismo subject natin, yung buong katawan ng subject natin. And very aligned siya dun sa line ng rule of thirds, okay? Okay. Now, going on to leading lines. Leading lines is used to draw a viewer's attention to a specific part of the frame. Okay. So for example, is this one. Ano kaya yung line na nagli-lead dun sa subject natin? First, we have to know what the subject is. So our subject here is yung mga monghe, yung mga monks, okay? This photo is from Mikey Jonora. So yung lines na nagpo-point towards sa subject natin is yung stairs, okay? And also this one, yung nasa taas, yung kung saan sila nagli-lean. So, ginamit nung photographer yung lines from the stairs leading to our subject. Okay? Ito naman, this was used using my Samsung S9. Nung nag-hike kami, may nakita akong rainbow and nakita ko na magandang gamitin yung rainbow to create a leading line composition sa photo. So, ang ginawa ko is pinosition ko yung friend ko dun sa end ng rainbow and then nag-create ako ng leading lines composition. Dito naman sa kabila, sa right, makita natin na yung ridges ng mountains. So, it all is leading downwards going to the Pale San Miguel Pilsen. Okay? I'm not advertising ha. Hindi ako nag-advertise ng alcoholic drink ha. I'm specifically explaining yung use ng Mountain Ninjas line dun sa going to the drink. Okay? Yan. Next naman is texture. So what texture does, it emphasizes the features and details in a photograph. So as mentioned before yesterday, meron tayong mga two kinds of texture. Ano nga ulit yung two kinds of textures natin sa graphic design? One is visual and the other one is the real. Okay? Yan. So for example, ito, since yung photos naman ay rendered digitally, lahat to visual textures lang. So kung mapapansin natin dito, ginamit nung photographer yung composition technique na texture to make his photographs more appealing. So makita natin dito, anong texture yung makikreate natin dito? Something very hard and something very rough. Okay? Also, pwede din tayo mag-create ng texture kapag zoom in natin yung camera lens natin. So let's try zooming in on a subject or on a scene and then makikita natin na mas na-amplify yung features ng subject na yon. So the more that you zoom and focus on one subject, and see the texture on the subject. So for example, this one, yung hard shell and also the texture of the slime, mas na-emphasize siya dun sa photo. Okay? Ito naman is a photo from In again. Makikita natin, this one is one of my, probably here in my presentation was my favorites. Kasi grabe yung pag-use nung transition ng texture doon sa photograph niya. So makikita natin at the bottom part, texture of the leaves na very, ano ba, coarse kasi malalaki. And then when we go to the middle part, texture of the leaves pa rin, but something smoother. Pero may texture pa rin siya. So it's like the rice paddies. And then on the top is the texture of the clouds and the texture of the sky, which this one is very creamy and very smooth. So makita natin yung transition ng texture from very smooth to something very rough and very coarse. Okay? Yeah. So for the fourth one is perspective. It's a sense of depth or spatial relationships between objects in the photo along with their dimension with respect to the viewpoint. So we have low angle, normal angle, high angle, and those angles create very different effects to the photo. So for example, this one, meron na gumagamit tayo ng low angle. So ang nagiging effect ng low angle, pwede din ito magamit sa mga models, no, or sa tao. Kapag gumamit tayo ng low angle, ang nangyayari is our subject appears taller and basta in general, mas malaki, mas matangkad, mas spacious, mas vast. Okay? So if gagamit tayo ng low angle, pwede natin magpagmukain yung subject natin na matangkad. Okay? And then this one, the photo on the left used high angle. So kapag high angle naman, nagbumukhang maliit naman yung subject natin. So for example, yung mga cars nagbumukhang maliit. And then on the right, normal angle naman yan. So kung ano yung, kung paano natin nakikita yung mga bagay-bagay, no distortions to kapag normal angle. Okay? Ito, for example, then high angle, it creates parang illusion na parang nalulula tayo. Okay? Alright. So next naman is colors. One of the most obvious elements in the composition to. So one of the creative ways for us to use the composition of color is through contrast. Siguro kapag two colors lang, mas magsa-stand out yung subject natin. So ito, it grabs the attention of the viewer and sets the mood as well of the image. So ito, for example, I used red, yung dress niya to isolate her hand na may ring. So there's a contrast between her hand and the background which is red. Okay? Ito naman, di ba sabi natin, it sets the mood of the photo. So what I used here is very bluish, so very calm, very serene. And if you can see, there is a contrast. Siguro 2 to 3 lang, pero dominantly two colors nga lang yung ginamit ko dito eh, which is blue and the other one is brown. Okay? So if makita natin dito din, very poetic yung nangyari kasi the blue is the sky and the sea and the color of the girl's dress or clothing is blue. So in essence, parang the girl is the ocean and the sky and the guy which is wearing black and brown and also ano yun ba yung mga black and brown dyan is the rocks and the land. So makita natin dito na maybe yung guy signifies the foundation of the relationship sa or like sturdy. He's more sturdy and he's more hard. Yeah. So other effects of color, here I used tungsten or a cooler Kelvin na setting sa white balance natin. So nag-create siya ng very cool tone. On the other hand, gumamit ako ng higher Kelvins. I think ang ginamit ko dito is shade. So nag-create siya ng very warm tone. Okay, next one is pattern. It is the use of the same elements or objects to create harmony in an image. And you can use patterns as the main subject as well. or to enhance the overall composition and look of the photograph. So, for example, eto, phone lang din yung ginamit namin dito. On the left is yung pattern mismo yung ginamit kong subject, but on the right, pattern was used to isolate the subject. So, kung makita natin, may pattern on the right ng mga windows and reds, and then there's also an isolation for the subject, which is the taxi. Okay? For the next one naman, gumamit siya ng pattern ng silhouettes nung mga temples. Okay? Alright. Pwede din tayong mag-iba ng angle, as I mentioned before, yung perspective, but also creating pattern pa rin. Okay? Another one. Okay. Next one is framing naman. It is a technique of drawing attention to the subject of your image by enclosing your subject literally in a frame. Okay? So for example, may mga natural frames tayo na pwedeng makita. When we say framing kasi, may mga natural objects tayo which are framed in a way, and then what we do is we put our subject and frame it into those natural frames. So for example, ito may mga rock stones na naturally nandun naman. So what we do is, if we frame natin yung subject, so for example, this temple or mosque, pwede natin siyang i-frame doon sa rock formation. And then also, dito sa isa, this is probably a window or a passageway na may magandang structure. So pwede natin yun, if yung scene natin or landscape natin, pwede nating i-frame doon sa structure na yon. Okay? Ito naman, I used intentionally small mirror to frame a subject. So, ang nangyari is na-reflect yung subject ko na flower through the mirror. So, nag-reflect siya. Okay? And then the last one is panning. It is a technique that freezes a moving subject while adding motion to the background. So, for example, ganyan. If you guys are wondering, capable ba yung phone camera natin na to create panning? Yes. This one is a photo used using my Samsung S9. So the way you do this is you use a shutter speed of around 1/50 to 1/30 para mag-create kayo ng blur, and also enough time siya to freeze your subject. So what you do is kapag may moving subject, kunyari ito yung phone ko, ang gagawin ko is using the shutter speed na 1/50, itatrack ko literally yung moving object. Kung magpapan siya going to the right, then I will pan going to the right. And then, magkiklik lang ako ng magkiklik until may mag-result into something like this. Okay? So, ang ginawa ko literally is to pan my phone and then click, 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 click with the setting na shutter speed is 1/50. So, yan po yung naging image or naging kinalabasan nung experiment ko. And it came out very good na nag-create pa rin ako ng panning na photo composition. Okay. So, guess the compositions used here in the following photos. Okay? Disclaimer lang, pwede tayong gumamit ng more than one photo compositions palagi. Okay? Ako, more than one ako palagi gumagamit para mas interesting yung photo natin. Okay? So, let's move on. Let's see. Ayan. Guess the composition. Ano kaya yung mga compositions na ginamit ko for this photo? Sige nga. You can answer more than one. So clue, siguro sasabihin ko dito, we have 3. Yan. Let's see kung ano yung makikita ninyong photo composition na ginamit natin dito. Okay. So Carlo Orenzo said, and also Azel Platon said, leading lines. So tama yon, leading lines, no? nagkuha tayo ng the metal pole going to the subject here, yung bata. And then also, ayan, nakita ko na yung mga tamang sagots. Very good, guys. So, according to Mark Jerome Gironella, merong leading lines, tama ulit. Merong rule of thirds. So, if i-cut natin into sections yung photo natin, may etong bata nag-intersect dun sa second na intersection point. Okay? So, that's right. No? Rule of thirds. And also, lastly is framing. So, what we did here is using the poles, ayan, na-frame natin yung subject natin. And also, may framing pa dun sa loob ng framing natin, which is yung itong part na to. Yan. Okay? Nakuha ba? Tama ba kayo sa mga sagot ninyo? And nagets ba natin kung bakit yon yung photo compositions na ginamit sa photo na to? Okay. I hope lahat nakagets, ano? Let's proceed. Okay. Guess the composition. Yan, tama kayo. Rule of thirds, leading line, and framing. Next naman, let's see nga. Yan. So, take time to look at the photo and study the photo and see what are the composition techniques used. Okay. So, let's see kung tama kayo. Yung composition techniques na ginamit ay texture, tama, leading lines, and also framing. Yan. Tama si Fredizon Bancrifarirao. Gumamit ng texture, leading line, and framing. So next one, ito naman. Ano kaya yung composition technique na ginamit dito? Okay? Tingnan natin kung ano nga ba yung mga composition techniques na ginamit. So here, we have rule of thirds, color, and texture. Yan. So now let's go to basic of photography genres. Very good, guys. I appreciate all of you answering our little pop quiz, and I hope na marami kayo natutunan dun sa pop quizzes natin. Okay? Later on and in the future, I hope na makagamit kayo ng magandang composition techniques, and if you see a photo somewhere, siguro pwede nyo din siya i-analyze no, na what made this photo very effective? Ano kaya yung composition na technique na ginamit ng photographer to make this photo very interesting? So, doon malalaman na natin na knowledgeable na kayo na, gumamit siya ng leading lines, gumamit siya ng color, gumamit siya ng texture, gumamit siya ng panning, gumamit siya ng framing, rule of thirds, yon. Okay? So, now, let's go to our last topic, which is basic photography genres. Mabilis na lang to. So first one is portraiture, my chosen field and my favorite field. It is a technique that freezes a moving subject while adding, sorry, this is different. It is a technique that or um, genre that captures people and emotions. So mali po yung description dito, I'm so sorry. But it is to capture people and emotions, okay? So a few of my idols in portraitures are Annie Leibovitz, Shaira Luna, BJ Pascual, and also Joseph Pascual. So if you guys search them on the internet, makikita ninyo yung mga pictures nila. Okay? So this one is an example of portraiture using a phone. So ang ginamit ko lang po dito ay Oppo. Yan. The new Oppo phone. So dun sa right, makikita ninyo na parang may dots-dots yung eyes niya. So ano po, yung nasa harap niya when I took this was ring light. Yun. Okay, another example. Again, this is Ella Lubag. Ayan, another example. Pero ito, ang ginamit ko na dito ay yung DSLR camera ko na. Ayan. And the next one is landscape. It pertains to shooting vast spaces, often natural or man-made features. So, for example, ay yung ano pala, mga idol photographers ko dito ay sila Angelo Mendo. Ito, dito ko talaga si Angelo Mendo. Si Javi Kang, si Enzo Cruz, and Rainiel Hernandez. You can search them on Instagram as well. Okay? So this one I took during our Batad trip. And then this one naman I took when I was in Manila. So not because since landscape, di ba niisip natin natural sceneries lang. Pero there are also what we call cityscapes. So it's still part of landscape pero not the mountains or the seas or the beaches. Hindi yung mga natural things pero kundi yung mga man-made naman. Or mix of man-made and natural. So in this case is cityscape. So pwede rin po yung cities. Okay? Next one is low light. It refers to shooting in absence of natural or ambient light naman. So if there is minimal light, then we can consider it low light. Or if we use artificial light, then we can consider it low light. So for example, this one, using my phone, Samsung S9. Yan. And the next one is macro. It depicts small objects in a larger than life scale. And it is achieved using macro lenses. Pero sa phones natin, alam ko yung iba dyan capable of zooming in so much or kapag nilapit natin yung phone natin at mag-focus tayo sa subject, nafo-focus pa rin yung gusto natin i-focus. So yon pwede natin gamitin for macro. Okay? So ito, this one is an example of macro lens. Gumamit ako ng phone to. Gumamit ako ng phone, pero yung lens ko kasi hindi siya capable na mag-macro. So ang ginawa ko nun, bumili ako ng yung clip macro adapter sa phones. Modifier siya. So pwede kayong bumili nun. Ang naalala ko, nabili ko lang siya for 600 yata or 500. If you can search sa Shopee or Lazada, may mga ganon. Phone, camera phone modifiers, mga ganon. Okay? So another one example, ito. Yan. And also this one. Diba? Nagmumukha silang life size or bigger than usual. All right. The next one is still life. It pertains to the depiction of inanimate objects. So, lahat ng mga hindi gumagalaw. One of my favorite photographers dito is si Gelito De Leon. And then we have also Ayala Hernandez, Patrick Jokno, and also yung company ko before, Chapters PH, they create the best still photographs in products and also in food. Okay? So here, for example, phone lang po yung ginamit ko dito, but I studied my lighting. Pansin ko kasi na maganda yung lighting and also sa food, maganda na yung lights natin is one-sided and very diffused, either on the left or on the right. So, gumamit lang ako ng onting props and then finocus ko lang yung camera ko dun sa subject, which is yung parang rebel bars. Yan. Ito din, using top angle or, yeah, tama. Phone lang din po yung ginamit ko dito. Yan. So next one is street and photo journ. Street photography features subjects in candid situations in public areas. And hindi po literally nasa street. Pwede rin kahit anong urban setting. Okay? On the other hand, photojournalism naman is it follows a rigid and ethical framework. So for example, sa mga news, ganon. Yun po ay photojournalism kasi it's honest and very impartial. Okay? So here are my inspirations in photojourn. So si Gilson Tiu, si Carlo Gabuco, si Luis Liwanag, Sir Luis Liwanag, and Jeloy Concepcion. Yan. Si Jeloy Concepcion yung sikat sa Instagram for putting texts sa mga images niya, sa mga photo drawing photos niya. Yan. So here, for example, I took this sa market. So ang ginawa ko is finokus ko muna yung subjects niya. So somehow it created a pattern here, and pattern here sa mga relo. And then, yung next naman is zoom in ko yung frame ko sa kanya mismo. So siya naman yung naging focus. Okay. Another one is this. Ito, very street yung treatment ng photo na to. Okay. And also this one sa LRT sa Manila. Okay. So in a way, parang na-frame din siya ng dalawang foreground na lalaki. Okay. So here, as we end our lecture, I want to challenge you all and come up with a photo or shoot a photo that is near you or using your current surrounding and also using what you've learned. I want you to take a photo and share it on the comment section. So for 5 minutes, mabilis lang naman to. Tignan natin kung ano yung tumatak sa inyo dito sa lesson natin, and then I want you to apply it when you shoot. So okay lang na if hindi pa kayo masyadong maalam sa exposure triangle or tweaking the ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. Kung hindi pa kayo confident, you can go auto, but I want you to show me a composition na lang. Ganun. So maybe you can use perspective. Kung may makakalabas at may makakapagpaning, ita-thumbs up ko yan sobra kasi effort yon. Yan. And also, pipili kami ng mga best photos na pwedeng i-feature sa page ng LRC. Okay? So I hope you guys take this very seriously kasi mafe-feature yung photo nyo sa page ng LRC and we will congratulate you all. Yan. So I hope siguro 5 to 10 minutes, no? If you can do it less, then better. And you can post it right away. But we'll give you ample amount of time for you to shoot. Okay? So go.
All right, kid. We also posted an announcement sa ating Facebook page so they could post there yung kanilang mga photos. And please don't forget to apply all the tips you learned from our speaker from Hill. Okay? So i-post na lamang po yan and use the hashtag smartphone photography 101. So makikita nyo po yan sa ating Facebook page. All right. Also, if you have questions, guys, kay Hill, sa ating speaker, please don't forget to comment your questions for him. And I think I see him mga ano na mismo, no? Mga questions natin dito. First, Hill, we have here a question. Ano daw yung masasuggest mo na smartphone camera for beginners? Meron din kasing question on camera na talaga eh. But first, let's focus on smartphones. Ano ba daw yung magandang maging smartphone when you use when taking pictures?
Any
Any suggestion?
smartphone naman po pwede. But if they want to elevate their photography talaga na pwedeng mag-tweak sila ng mga pro features like as I mentioned, yung exposure triangle, I will recommend any high-end phone, specifically siguro yung Huawei P20 or any P series of Huawei. Super ganda ng lens nun. It's in collaboration with Leica kasi yung phone na yon. So Huawei. But if some of you fear uh, owning a Huawei. Kasi di ba may issue ngayon sa Huawei? I don't remember. Parang binan yata sila sa America. If not, you can always go to Apple products, iPhone, ganyan.
Okay, I hope that answer your question. Ang nag-ask yan ay si Micaela Rotiles. And there are a lot of relevant questions as well sa question niya. How about naman daw sa camera mismo? Talagang gustong maging pro na.
Okay. For those na beginners na gustong gusto na bumili na ng camera talaga, it depends, no? Meron akong blog post about that, of what kind of camera you will use. Kasi it will depend on different factors eh. What will you use it for? How long are you gonna use it for? And how serious are you into it kapag bibili ka na? So, if you're just a beginner, other than a smartphone, siguro I would recommend yung mga entry-level cameras. Go for
Mhm.
digital cameras na yung mga compact, very compact lang muna. So, kayo din, pwede nyo din pag-isipan if you'll go mirrorless. So, you'll travel light and very portable yung mga mirrorless cameras. Or, pwede rin yung mga fixed lens cameras. Meron tayo ngayon yung mga, um, pero medyo mahal eh. Sony, um, yeah, yung mga X100 or
Mhm.
Fuji, and also Canon G7 Mark 2 or 4, yung mga ganun.
Okay. So I hope you got that, ah. Meron din siyang vlog. So follow nyo rin po siya. Saan daw po sila magpa-follow? Page to follow. Nag-a-ask
Ah,
sila.
yung blog ko po ay blogspot.com. So sasabi ko WordPress. I'm hosting my blog at Blogspot po. So that's hillsalgado.blogspot.com, and then you can go dun sa photography blog, and then nandun yun specifically. Meron akong mga camera specifically na minention doon kung ano yung magandang camera per category.
Also, search for Hill Salgado Photography, no? Meron siyang page din sa Facebook, meron din sa
Yes.
Instagram. So, kung gusto niyo makakuha ng mga inspiration. And then, may nakita rin akong question, kid. Would you recommend ba daw mirrorless na camera? Or, yeah, anong recommendations mo? Kasi ako, mirrorless yung kinuha ko kasi. Because of you.
Okay. Different naman kasi yung use ng perks. Different yung perks ng mirrorless at different din yung perks ng DSLRs, yung bulky. First
Mm.
is ang pinaka talaga nila, difference talaga nila is battery life. So if magi-event photography ka, I would recommend yung mas sturdy DSLR cameras na long duration talaga yung pwede kang mag-shoot. So in just charging one battery, pwede kang mag-shoot for the whole day. Pero kapag, in my experience, since mirrorless ako and sometimes I shoot events, gumagamit ako ng 4 to 5 batteries per event. So, at saka minsan, there's a fear na kapag nag-i-events ako, maubusan ako ng charged battery. So, every time nagcha-charge ako, magpapalit ako. Kasi usually yung mga mirrorless cameras, they only last for 3 to 4 hours a day if you're gonna use it continuously. Unlike DSLRs na they can go on for a day talaga.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, if daily camera nyo lang naman siya and hindi nyo siya gagamitin in an event or long hours, mas maganda for me yung mirrorless kasi mas madadala ko siya everyday. It's very compact, maliit lang siya, and very quiet. Wala na kasi yung sa DSLR kasi, may mirror yon na nagfo-flap every time na magte-take ka ng photo. So sa mirrorless, since wala na yung mirror, kasi nga mirrorless sila, wala na yung sound na pag-flap. Yon. So yun din, one of the things na kinonsider ko yon. Kasi since hindi naman ako masyado ma-event or street, ganyan, okay na ako for mirrorless.
Mhm. All right, thank you. So I hope that answers your question. And then we also have a question here from Keneline Corzon. Siguro dalawa na lang na question after this. What is the best advice for close up or very close up photos, and which is more preferable? Having all the elements or composition techniques in one photo, or just choosing or focusing like one to two to three elements?
Mm. When it comes to the ano ba, close up, ang importante doon is know what your subject is.
Mhm.
First, know what your subject is. Huwag kayong magko-close up nang hindi nyo alam kung ano ba yung gusto nyong i-close up in the first place. So, kunyari ako, gumamit ako ng macro lens as I shown you a while ago. Specifically, gumamit ako ng macro lens nun kasi I want to focus on the eye of the person. So, yun yung gusto kong i-close up. Kasi when we say close up, dapat right then and there, makita na ng mga tao kung ano yung subject mo. Kasi yun na yung mag-fill up ng space ng photo mo eh. Unlike sa street or sa landscape, very wide, very vast yung photo. Hahanapin pa natin kung ano talaga yung interesting subject. But in close-ups, yun nga, uh, in your face na talaga yung magiging subject mo. When it comes to ano naman, ano nga po yung second question ulit?
Kung which is more preferable, having all
For
the
the
elements?
composition techniques, okay. When it comes to composition techniques, it's hard na magamit mo yon lahat. Very, you just choose siguro three na pwede mong ma-apply. Sometimes kasi when you're given a scenario or a situation, doon mo na din siya mako-compose eh. Um, it's really a matter of where you are in the moment. Kasi for example, kung nasa open beach ka, it will be hard for you to frame something without a foreground. So kung wala kang puno dyan or kung wala kang arko na pwede mong i-frame, edi wala ka talagang magagamit na uh, composition technique na framing. So in my experience, siguro given the situation, the most na pwede kong magawa sa photo ay three. And it's a well-composed shot. You can use one and be good at that one and ayun, shine yung composition technique na yon. Do not use that many. Di ba sabi ko, less is more.
Okay. Thank you, kid. And then may pahabol siyang question dito, and relevant din sa question ni AK Martinez. So sabi pa rin ni Kenilyn, and last, after taking near or plain photo, is it more justifiable to edit it or just enhance it more?
Ah,
Not, or not always the case. And then si AK Martinez naman, do you use smartphone camera filters? Do you recommend using photo filters?
okay. So, duma tayo sa filter kasi mabilis yon. Filter
Okay.
is a very subjective preference. Like, ano lang yun eh. It's there because it's helpful. It was invented because it was helpful. So,
Mhm.
if you are still not knowledgeable about editing, then go. You can use filters as long as you don't over-edit your photo. If it looks right, then it's okay. If it enhances your photo, then it's okay. It's your creative freedom using filters. So
Mhm.
there's no wrong in using filters. You can also use that. Ako gumagamit din naman ako ng filter if one um, hindi hindi ko matimpla yung color na gusto ko using Photoshop or what kasi may mga templates talaga dyan na filters na ready-made. So, i-adjust ko na lang yung intensity, ganyan. And so, ayun, yun na yung ginagamit ko. One is kapag hindi ko matimpla yung color na gusto ko. And two is if tinatamad na akong to edit it professionally na I would go tedious process of opening Photoshop and then editing tweaking the exposure, color balance, color grading, mga ganyan. Pwede naman gamitin na yung filters, okay? And then dun sa first question, that's a good question, no? Um, do not go into photography na edit, pagdadaanin nyo na lang siya sa edit because the best photo is still the best composed photo. So kung magte-take kayo ng picture na ang thinking nyo na lang or mindset nyo na lang ay um, i-edit ko naman to or may edit ko naman to, then you won't be really able to train your eye. Kasi the best thing for you, kaya nga tayo nagsushoot, is to train our eyes. So for you to have a photography eye or a creative eye, you must practice the rules and principles of the composition techniques or of photography para mas maganda talaga yung maging picture natin. So do not rely on editing. I will still prefer a beautifully composed photo than a beautifully edited photo anytime, any day.
Wow, very well said. Sabi ni Sir Chico, the real beauty is captured, ano ba daw, blank. Sabi ko, raw. Yung parang, iba sabi mo pag, actually nung time namin, walang edit-edit eh. Di ba? Manual, aperture, shutter priority, tapos punta ka sa sa dark room. Pagka mali yung pagkakashoot mo, ulit ka ulit. So, ngayon medyo talaga, medyo lax na may editing na. Pero tama nga. Kailangan i-apply mo lahat ng mga elements, yung tamang pag-capture, para konti na lang, hindi na hassle sa pag-edit-edit.
Oo. If you got it right when you shoot it, you will edit less.
Yeah. Ayan, the real beauty is captured in its purest form. Wow. Ha.
Mm.
Ano. Ayan, si Jalian, sabi niya, where do you edit your photos? Parang pang na to, prelude next
Yes,
tomorrow.
for tomorrow, no?
Yeah.
Ako may process flow ako in editing. Tomorrow I will teach you kung paano 'yon. So, I want you to attend tomorrow session na lang. 'Yon.
Yeah. Any reminders, kid, for tomorrow? Mga may dapat ba silang i-prepare?
For
Uh,
tomorrow, yung LRC magse-share sila sa inyo dun sa mga registered for tomorrow session. May share
mhm.
sila sa inyo na pictures that I found online. Ang mga ano to, free resources online na pwede natin i-sample edit. Okay? So yun yung gagawin natin. Tomorrow will not be a lecture type of a webinar. It's more of a workshop talaga kasi live editing yung gagawin natin and yung application is very ano din, real time. Okay?
Okay. So, isi-share po namin yan sa inyo probably sa Facebook page na rin siguro para lahat ay maka-access dun sa resources na binigay ni Kid, ano. So, I guess there you have it, guys. Mr. Lawrence Gill D. Salgado, thank you so much. Now, Team LRC would like to take this opportunity to thank you again for your valuable time. So, to award the Certificate of Appreciation, may I kindly recognize once again our beloved Director, Dr. Benjamina Paula G. Flor. Allow me to read quickly the citations first. University of the Philippines Los Baños Learning Resource Center present the Certificate of Appreciation to Lawrence Hildy Salgado for serving as resource speaker in the fifth session on Smartphone Photography 101, How to Take Better Pictures Using Mobile Phones, in the GKPB Mag-Online Learning, a webinar series on how to take online learning to the next level, held today, April 7, 2021, given the 7th day of April 2021 at the Learning Resource Center, UPLB College Laguna, signed by our director, Benjamina Paula G.
Okay, thank you so much, kid. Once again, we have learned new things today from you. Indeed, a picture is worth 1,000 words because there are certain rules and techniques on how to package one. And to say what we cannot say or what cannot be said in a few words. And with that, thank you so much. And we look forward to our topic tomorrow, which is on photo editing. So I hope everyone will be joining us tomorrow for our last session.
Thank you, Ma'am Benj. And once again, thank you very much, Hill. Now, for the evaluation of this session, please do not forget to answer the evaluation form after this webinar to receive your e-certificate of participation. They will be sent to all the registered participants. Your comments and suggestions will be deeply appreciated by our team po. And again, the evaluation link will be up until 5 in the afternoon. So please don't forget to answer that. And we are really overwhelmed with your responses, no? Kaya po medyo nagkakaroon ng delay sa ating certificates. Kindly give us at least 48 hours for the system to generate and send your certificates to your email. If you haven't received anything in the next 48 hours, then please email us at lrc.uplb@up.edu.ph. More than anything else, more than the certificates, we hope you guys really gained inspirations and valuable insights from our speaker today. Now, for the reminder natin, for the next session that is immediately tomorrow, our sixth and last session under the Leveling Up Your Design Skills. That's tomorrow, Thursday, April 8, 2021, same time, 10 in the morning. And our session is all about image editing. Learn how to edit photos using Adobe Photoshop. So the registration link will be up until 5 p.m. as well. So it's open and free for all. Take advantage of all the sessions to level up your online or our online learning experience and to gain new skills as lifelong learners. At this point, we would like to recognize and thank our team, hashtag Team LRC and hashtag GKPB team, headed by our director, Ma'am Benji, with the support, of course, by our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jean O. Loyola. On our technical side is our University Research Associate, Joshua Michael G. Jonas, and our Webinar Production Online Director, Direct Prof. Mark Lester and Chico. A big shout out again to our two other members, Tita Allen and Kuya Iwa, who are also watching today. Hindi man po sila kita sa Zoom space, sila po ay kasama namin sa aming mga puso at kasama namin sa lahat ng aming mga programang inihahandog po namin sa inyo. Again, thank you, Kid. We'll see you tomorrow as our speaker. And salamat talaga sa pag-yes sa aming request. Now, to end, let me share my humble reflection on our session today. And it is just one word: focus. Where your focus goes, energy flows. What you focus on grows, either good or bad. So just like the photographer who always sees the best angle and perspective of an object or situation, let us direct our focus and efforts on the things we want to do, to be, and have, and those things will grow. Sabi nga ni Dan Brown, sometimes a change of perspective is all it takes to see the light. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay positive, stay healthy, and stay safe. God bless everyone, and bye.